Hey guys, it's Sam. This one's probably going to be a longer chatty video, so get yourself something warm to drink and a snack and get ready to settle in. It's also going to probably be a noisier in the background video because there's stuff going on in my house right now and I can't avoid it. But I wanted to chat with you today. So I had a couple of things happen this week and it just kind of made me stop. It made me stop and think, and I'm looking at my system a little differently than I have before. One of those things was, I think it popped up on Reddit, somebody using a really old school, no, it wasn't somebody using an old school, it was somebody who had found an old vintage from like 1986 pocket calendar, which I've talked about on this channel before. And the person, but that particular planner, instead of it opening like this, it opened like this. And so the month was like top and bottom. And they used it for their appointments, and they used different colored pens, and they used different colored markers, and they not only put in their appointments, but they also put like this very tiny snippet of a memory in this little tiny pocket calendar. Like they went to dinner with so and so, or, it rained today. And I was like, of course, I don't have any kind of, vision into the rest of their lives to know if they kept this long form journal or not. But all I thought was, oh my goodness, in 2 seconds, they were able to capture so much in a 2-page monthly calendar where I am spending all of this time and energy and money into systems that I don't seem to be able to keep information coming in a consistent basis because I'm stressed out about all of the choices that I have in front of me. And then the second thing that happened was that I cleaned my desk and all I saw was time spent researching the perfect everything, the money spent that's not getting used, and the time that I didn't get to spend either enjoying the hobby or doing something else with someone else that I love and care about, because of what I had decided to do, because of all the options that are out there for me. And I just kind of had the, with these things happened within like 2 days of each other. And I just kind of had the, okay, enough is enough kind of moment. And I've had similar moments in the past, but I feel like this time I was able to kind of assess the situation and understand, maybe, hopefully, how I'm going to pivot with this kind of aha moment. So if you have ever felt like you have had too many options, too many shiny objects to choose from, and that you just feel like you still don't have your crap together, or you're not getting those memories down that you bought that expensive journal for, then hopefully you'll be interested in hearing my thoughts about how I'm going to hopefully transform mind system to make it more about me. Um, I've talked in the past about rings and how and why it is better for me than some other systems. And I realize that this is not like the it planner or what everybody wants to see. So if that is I can't go any farther because she's in rings. Maybe I'll see you again later. But if you like to see, what is functional for other people, despite if it's what you're using or not, then I hope you'll stick around. I have other things to talk about and other decisions to make. So I hope that you'll stick with me. But for me, I feel like it's a broken record to keep saying, but one of the reasons why I keep falling back on the rings system is because I can make it whatever I want it to be. Sometimes I rely more heavily on my weekly planning. Sometimes I rely more heavily on my daily planning. Sometimes I want a more structured insert. Sometimes I just want to use blank pages to write on. And I don't have to throw out the whole system to be able to make a change with rings. And I feel like I don't have that with other systems. And even when thinking about going to get like a cheap planner from an office store, it's what somebody decided a calendar should be like, and I can't easily add to it. And they usually have something that is kind of I just can't make that work. And with rings, I can find any insert on Etsy. I can find any insert on somebody's web page. I can buy the pre-made versions from, planner companies, and I can just make what works for me. And the most important thing is that although it becomes a complete system and a book, it's easily changeable in any way. So if one section isn't working for me, or one insert isn't working for me, or if it's information that I need to keep for the next 5 years, I'm able to keep it in the same book. And that just gives my brain permission to go ahead and write it down in a way that when I'm carrying around a bound book, I don't feel that same permission. So the planner, I think, is going to really need to continue to be rings, because it's just what works for my particular brain. And yes, it's way more, it's bigger, it's more in depth than that little pocket calendar, but I feel like in the same way, it's very functional. If what's functional for me is getting something out of my head and knowing that I can file it into whatever section it belongs in, then that is the most important thing to me. It used to just be so easy. Everybody would have a little pocket calendar, and they would have a little notebook, and they would somehow get to all their appointments and get their to-do list done. And now we spend all of this money and all of this energy and find the perfect everything, and we suddenly have no idea what we're doing, because we're focused on the wrong things. All right, so the next decision that kind of needs to be made is, what about journaling? If your planner is decided and set, then what about journaling? And initially, my thought was that I could use the Hobonichi weeks maybe a little bit differently. This has been the least I've spent in a Hobonichi weeks in years, and it's mostly because of the paper. But it's the other things that don't work for me just have become louder because of the paper this year. The grid size is too small for me personally, and I guess I've just come to the conclusion that Tomoe River paper is just not what makes me happy. So I have a thought of changing up how I use this side, and kind of in that same pocket calendar idea, using this little section as my journal, because I don't enjoy journaling every day. But if I just have this little snippet here, then I feel like that would take a lot of pressure off. I've never used a Hobonichi weeks like that, so that would definitely take some growing pains. And I think that I would like to maybe give it a trial run next week, and see if that is something that could work for me. But I am not a daily journaler. And so this, I think, is why the Traveler's Notebook system has worked really well for me this year. All my stickers are falling out here. For one thing, the paper is fabulous. The grids are so much larger, and it's not Tomoe River paper. I absolutely love this paper. The only thing that I wish is that the grid insert was off-white like the planning pages are. And I don't understand why they don't make this insert in a cream paper. I feel like that would be something really easy for them to do. But as you can see, I went on a trip in October, and I've only journaled about half the stuff that I wanted to journal about. And I have all the ephemera for it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and journal. And I do go through periods where I really want to, or we'll go to a coffee shop and I'll be enjoying journaling as a hobby. But I go through a lot more days where I would rather be doing anything else. I want to play a video game with my husband, or game night with my kids, or go for a walk, or have some tea and have a talk about my day, or study my Bible, or anything other than kind of feel set aside to myself and journaling. And I know that that's probably an unpopular opinion, but it's just not a daily habit that I have been keeping very well. So of course, what did I do but buy myself a Hobonichi A6 for next year, because my thought was, I need to make this a daily hobby, and I need it to be a smaller space because I don't have a lot to write every day. Um, but I think that this was the absolute wrong move for me, and I think that I need to part with this. I'll sell it with the pen. Um, I haven't written in it, and I think that this would be another one of the books that would be in the I can't believe that you made this decision and then you wasted that money. So I think that it would be better for me to let this go sooner than later and just kind of take this off the table because I have been so much stressing about it. I think I was journaling a little bit more frequently when I made the decision to buy this book. And so I just thought, oh, by then I'll be a seasoned daily journaler and this is going to be perfect. And it's not come true. I've talked very much about, just going through seasons. If I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, if we have things that are going on, I don't find I want to journal in those times. And so it takes the pressure off of me to have something undated like this. And then I would have to make another purchase if this particular insert replaced the Hobonichi Weeks. But I'm toying with the idea now, just because if I do that with this insert, I would have just a little bit more room to spread out. And of course, I prefer this paper over this paper. It would make me really sad to lose the Hobonichi Weeks, and I already have that here. I don't think I've written in that one, but I don't think that I'm going to part with that because I think of all the things that I'm thinking of letting go of this year, that's the one I'm most sad about. So I think I'll keep the Hobonichi Weeks around, see if I bounce in and out of it, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm much more enjoying the Traveler's Notebook system, mostly because it doesn't have Tomoe River paper. Other decisions for the year. I already have my little passport, and when I posted my video about avoiding a planner hop, although I did avoid hopping into a pocket that day, the next day I took this little guy to work with me, and I just love the Traveler's Notebook system. And this little passport, this particular calendar gives me all of those, little pocket calendar vibes. And I think that this could definitely be a good system for me. And I did use it for several months in a row this year. The thing that I don't like about it is, of course, I can't take a page of information and rearrange it because these are little bound books. But it definitely works as something that I can take out and about during the day and then transfer information onto pages that are here. I'm not so prolific a brain person or whatever that I'm writing profound things down every day and I need to capture those. And I can keep my inserts going with information like health trackers and such. Then I think that that's one of the more important sections that I have, but I could easily move information that is something that I need to keep throughout the year or years. Keep the minimal amounts of things that are must-haves, move them into my ring binder. But especially I think during the warmer months, I find myself very much loving smaller books. So the Traveler's Notebook system is going to be here to move in and out of, kind of in a similar way to what the Hobonichi Weeks has been throughout the years. So these two sizes will stay in my lineup. And then the last thing that I had decisions to make about was my work planner. Because here I am looking at all of the money that I've spent and the waste and what's not getting used. And if there was ever a planner apocalypse or a stationery supply apocalypse, I think that I would be well set for many years, except for dried up pens. But I have been using a planner for work this year and it's worked really, really well. I've always kind of just used a notebook similar to this that my work provides, so $0 spent. But then I bought this really cheap at the beginning of this year, and I moved into this for my work planner. And I really have enjoyed having the dated pages. I don't think there's anything like, you know, necessarily needed to be hidden here. It is a mess, which is fine. I use different colored pens. I use whatever highlighter. I scratch things out. I do use the little monthlies to keep track of my PTO and meetings and such. But do I need to spend $28, $29, $30 on a work planner when this worked just fine? And again, keeping with the whole pocket calendar idea of just making sure that you need to be somewhere at a specific time. My work also provides wall calendars and then slightly smaller calendars that can sit out on your desk. So I think that I need to say no to purchasing a planner for work. Between, the meetings that are scheduled with reminders in Outlook and using OneNote for the notes that I need to refer to most of the time, I think that the free things that I can get from work will be very useful for me, and I don't need to spend any more money on anything. And there's just kind of the, oh, but this is nice to have. Well, I think I'd also like to have that $30 back. And it's not a necessity for me. Even more so in the same way that I just find my brain relaxes when I'm using a ring planner for like all of the things. For instance, I've said before that rings are really, really helpful like this time of year. So I have all of my like extra stuff here in the back. And this is where I'm starting to keep track of, which we really need to hurry up. We have a lot of kids and their, girlfriend or boyfriend or what have you. So we have a lot of people that we need to buy for, and we're behind on Christmas shopping already. But this is where I keep track of that. And then I have this where I'm trying to keep track of our menu for Thanksgiving. And I don't necessarily want to keep this page, but I might want to keep my monthlies, and I will want to keep doctor's visit notes and things like that. And so I probably could function without rings, but I will say that I've had moments of like, what the crap am I doing? Just buy a cheap planner from insert office store. But I go and I look at them, and then there's something about them that I hate. And the beauty of rings is I can, make something, which so far that's a no-go, but I'll have a vision of what I want an insert to be like, and I'll go buy it online, or I'll buy a digital download on Etsy. And usually it's not a huge expense to keep up a rings planner. It's just about kind of building your library of printables and such to come up with an eclectic planner that is only you. I don't think that there's probably anybody out there that has every single planner page in their planner that I do, and it's because I have found what works best for me. And so that's something that you definitely can't get from those systems that are, they kind of hold a special place in my heart because that's what started planning for me. And you just used what you had, and you did get your crap together. And it was definitely a lot less expensive. You had your ballpoint pens, maybe in several colors. You had your annoying highlighters. You weren't worried about stickers. You weren't worried about washi tape, and you didn't have a following to see if people liked it or not. So I need to use what's best for me, and to be darned with anybody who doesn't like it or doesn't want to watch, because it has to work for me. It just has to. And I feel like I've tried to be really authentic about what I'm choosing, but if I really look at it and take a really hard look, I think that my decisions have in some places been influenced by other people and what they're using, and trying to make things work for me that I probably should have given up on a long time ago or never purchased. I have a whole stack of, why the heck did I buy this from over the last year? And I'm just trying not to make those bad decisions again, because I have so many other things that I want to use with that time, energy, and money. So what do you think? I feel like this feels right. Letting go of some of the expectations. I am not a natural journaler, and I need to give myself a less stressful, less needy option than a dated daily something that I'm going to expect myself to fill up and feel like a failure if I do not. I really do want to do the whole low buy in all categories stationery for 2026. And I'm hesitant to say that out loud because I have learned if you say you're going to not buy things and then you buy things, people have a lot to say about that and it's not nice. But it's true. That's what I wish for myself. That's the Sam I want to be for next year. I want to be focused less on consumption and looking at what I already have and using what I already have. Um, so that's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to part with this. The Hobonichi weeks, I'm going to see what happens for next year. And if I don't end up using it, I think that it might be the end of the line for Hobonichi, which would make me sad, but I need to see how it goes. But for now, I feel like I've been able to look at this with a, do I have my crap together? And what can I spend the least amount of money on to get my crap together? And then just coming to the realization that I don't have to be a journaler to have a place in this community. And I applaud you guys who do. I love it that you guys are daily journalers, but it's not me. I've tried it so many times and it's never going to be me. So I think that it's just time to come to that realization and to quit forcing it. It only causes me stress. So back to the OG function, and I hope that you find it no matter what system you choose. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and can't wait to see if I get my crap together anytime soon, please consider subscribing. I appreciate you being here and I hope to see you again soon. Bye guys.